justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind.
My first guy is Tiny Nate Archibald. Constantly forgotten out of all the great lead guards. The only player to lead the league in assists and points in the same season. That was the 72-73 season where he averaged 34 points, 11 assists. I think for like the diehard fans, the excuse was, that was the era of like, taking a million shots and pace was up. That was also around the same time that Oscar would have averaged his triple-double.
Mm-hmm.
But Oscar gets mentioned all the time, and Nate never does.
Mm-hmm.
And their careers are very similar in the fact that, like, they had lots of success early on. He was an all-star 6 times. He was, like, a top 10 player for at least 5 or 6 years of his career. So basically half his career.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't win a championship until, later in his career when he finally started to give up the stats and be part of a team, which he ended up doing with the 81 Celtics. Like with Oscar, really not winning anything until he played with Kareem and was willing to give up shots and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But still a really good player. Did end up being a starter on a championship team and put up crazy numbers throughout his career.
Yeah, man, that's a hell of a start. Now, I don't have a lot to say about Tiny except for, like you already said, he doesn't have a lot of winning seasons. Even that year, if I'm not mistaken, when he leads the league in points and assists, they're on a losing team, if I'm not mistaken. I think they finished below 500 that year, which, listen, if in today's day and age, Russ wins the MVP doing something almost similar on a team that barely finishes 500 and squeaks into the playoffs, and credit to Russ. This is not to take credit away from Russ, but I think people sometimes will remember Tiny in that negative light. Well, yeah, he had points and assists on a losing team. And it's like, yeah, but you're kind of disrespecting the fact that teams like need to be built. You know what I mean? He doesn't have, if I'm not mistaken, I don't even know if he plays with any other Hall of Famers on that team, on that Royals team early on, that then becomes the Kansas City Kings. And to your credit, like you said, he gets to the Celtics. Is he still starting when he wins that championship on the Celtics? He is, right?
Yeah, he's one of the starting guards.
Yeah, so he's the one of the starting guards on that team. Man, that's a great pick. That's a great pick. I don't think a lot of people know Tiny. Scores 17,000 points. And it's also important to remember that. So Tiny plays 14 seasons, I think it is. And he's a second round pick, even though the second round pick, he's 19th overall in 1970. So I'm reading that right now.
There was like. That was back when there was like 7 rounds.
Yeah, and there's just also not a lot of teams also. So the 19th overall pick is in the second round.
And you are correct that the Kings in 72-73 went 36 and 46. But that record gave them 4th place in the Midwest division. So they were like at the bottom of their like own division.
Yeah, and again, I mean, I don't think he plays with a lot of many, if any, All-Stars on that team. 6-time NBA All-Star.
Not a lot.
Yeah, I don't think so. 5-time All-NBA. And what's important to note again about a lot of these older players. So he finishes scoring 17,000 points, but plays 14 seasons, and that's the story for a lot of players, especially at this time, outside of like Kareem. There's just not a lot of guys that are going for 20 years. You know what I mean? Whereas now, like a guy like Karl Malone can exhaust the stats, can exhaust the points list, or a guy like LeBron, same thing, can exhaust the lists of all-time scorers and rebounds and assists just by longevity. That doesn't exist back then, and is actually going to take effect for one of the guys that I have on my list. Okay, great pick, great start. So I'm going to go with...
Justice for the blind, just something that'll find in the rhymes that are coming from my mind. Used to come